We're not a charity. We're not a nonprofit. We are a bona fide business because we strongly believe that in order to resolve this huge problem of the lack of respect in homes, you can't have a bucket waiting for donations. This has to be a paid service. So that way it actually gets resolved.
You're listening to the Real Returns podcast, where we learn how real investments can make a real impact. Join your hosts, Andrew and Dan, as they share stories and interview business leaders on how real estate and other forms of investment can create meaningful change for individuals and communities around the world.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Real Returns podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Riker. I'm joined with my co-host, Dan Croce. And Dan, how are we doing today?
I'm doing well. It's fully the winter season, so I'm working on the winter beard. I looked in the mirror this morning and I noticed something, but it reminded me of a joke. The joke is, what do you call a guy who looks in the mirror in the morning and is surprised at how much gray is in his beard?
Dan Croce.
Oh, you got it.
Is that it?
That's it. Now, you rarely get them right, Andrew. Now, what do you call a guy who might have even more gray in his beard?
Andrew Riker.
No, the answer's Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. There it is. Yeah. I go for the salt and pepper look these days. I blend this in myself. No, nice. That's awesome. Well, thanks, Dan. We got an exciting guest today, Sabrina Osso. Would you mind just quickly introducing her? Then Sabrina, would love for you to introduce yourself.
Yeah. So I am really looking forward to our conversation today with Sabrina Osso. She's the founder and CEO of Osso Safe. She's got a diverse background as a TEDx speaker, an author, and a real estate agent. And so that kind of uniquely positions her to talk about a variety of different things. But her focus is on the way that impact investing and interacting with real estate can create safer and more respectful environments. So really eager to learn about it today. It's a concept that we've learned much about before. So before we dive in though, Sabrina, would you mind just introducing yourself to our audience?
Sure. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Andrew and Daniel. This is so great. Yes, Sabrina Osso from Osso Safe. Feel safe where you live, learn, work, and play. I am a TEDx speaker, a real estate agent, and a new author on creating and maintaining respect in homes, workplaces, and schools, but the focus is in real estate homes, whatever your home is. And we do this by combining education and technology. So we could talk about that more during the interview, but that's a good summation of me and us.
Yeah, that's fascinating, Sabrina. And I have a particular passion for what you're doing. I think that there's a huge need. We've seen that among our residents. So how did you get into this? Like, what got you interested in this space and in having this kind of impact in people's homes?
Yes, I know firsthand how difficult it is to live in this type of environment with violence, abuse, chaos, dysfunction. My father beat my mother on a regular basis. My mother beat me. So I know what it's like. And Osso Safe started as a one-woman show that I wrote, choreographed, and performed. I am a professional dancer, teacher, and I wrote this a number of years ago. And the show is called Home Sweet Home ? I play different women being abused. She goes to her good place. That's where the dancing comes in. But then she's pulled back into the terror of violence. The show ends really strong, really empowering. And I did a lot of research for the show. And Dan, Andrew, I couldn't believe the statistics that I was finding. So I said to myself, I need to make this into a business, a bona fide business with products and services that could really help people. And I have to say, if I had my own products and services growing up, my father would not have gotten away with half the things he got away with. And I want to mention that we're not a charity, we're not a nonprofit, we are a bona fide business because we strongly believe that in order to resolve this huge problem of the lack of respect in homes, you can't have a bucket waiting for donations. This has to be a paid service. So that way it actually gets resolved. And we could talk about this more during the interview.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing a bit of your story. I'm sure it's that much more impactful, given that you've been through it, to be able to serve in the way that you are through this business. Can you talk a little bit about what it looks like from an education and a technology standpoint?
Sure. Our core product is the Osso Safe certifications for properties that we're introducing into the real estate industry. We want this to propagate over all types of residency, but we're focusing on the landlord-tenant portion right now because it's the path of least resistance. So we're saying to the real estate industry, look, Mr. and Miss Landlord, hire us, we'll get your property Osso Safe certified. What does that mean? They purchase the Osso Safe Home Sweet Home package. It consists of a policy, a seminar, an app, and therapists assigned to the property. So just to give a brief description of each of those components, the policy basically states, I as a landlord, I promise to provide you a safe space for you to live. You in turn as my tenant, you promise to not act in any way, shape, or form abusively. Otherwise, you, the abuser only, gets immediately evicted or expelled from the premises. And we go into full knowledge knowing that that would be the consequences. So there's no surprise. The second component is the seminar, the Home Sweet Home seminar. And this is all copywritten. I have everything trademarked and copywritten. This seminar, everybody gets educated, adults and children alike, on facts, statistics, warning signs, definitions of abuse, the difference between abuse and discipline, what constitutes a good relationship, what are the warning signs of a bad relationship. So that way, a resident can say, oh, I didn't know that if I pull my partner's hair, that constitutes abuse. Now you know. And a staple that we use in our properties, Osso Safe certified properties, is our children's book. And I could go more into that later on in the interview, but it lays the groundwork. It lays the foundation of the difference between respect and disrespect, abuse and non-abuse. Because the policy and the seminar in an Osso Safe certified property, we give voice and choice to children. We do not wait until they are 18 years of age for them to have agency over their lives. By then, it is too late. They will resort to drugs, to alcohol, gang violence. They will mutilate, self-mutilate, start cutting themselves. They will get involved with the wrong people, whether in friendships or relationships, continuing that violence and abuse. Or they will commit suicide. Why? When we can nip it in the bud right when they are teeny tiny, because children know who make them feel safe. They know who respects them. So that is the policy and the seminar. The third component is the app. I hired a software company that, according to my specifications, this app will detect violent-like movements and captures them in real time, issuing alerts to the landlord, the property owner. So let's say you have 10 units. Oh, wow, I just got an alert. You just beat the crap out of her in my unit 2, and you just beat the crap out of him in my unit 10. Well, this is grounds for eviction. You knew that this was going to happen. You are held to a higher regard, a higher standard in an Osso Safe certified property, and I have to protect the rest of my tenants who are in the building. You have to go. So, and right now the app is being improved upon. We're making changes to it. So that's the third component. And then the fourth and final component are therapists assigned to the property. You are required in an Osso Safe certified property to check in with your therapist once a month. Is everything okay? Do you feel like anything is looming? Well, Mr. and Miss Therapist, our kid came home with bad grades. We really don't know how to handle this. We're not going to beat them up. We're not going to verbally disparage them. We know better, but we really don't know how to maneuver. So help us maneuver. All of these components working together makes for an Osso Safe certified property. Our logo gets placed outside of the property, so that way any vehicle or pedestrian traffic passing by says, oh, I'd rather live in a property that's Osso Safe certified versus one that isn't. I want to raise my kids there because in case violence happens, they have the mechanisms and systems in place to nip it in the bud. And this makes for preventative, keyword, preventative home residency, if you will. We do not wait for police to come. Bad news travels fast. As you know, you are property owners and property managers yourselves. This makes for a better residency, a better whole life for everyone, adults and children alike. So that is our core product, and we are introducing this into the real estate industry and marketing it as a huge value, impactful value.
Well, I can just imagine how impactful that would be. The education and, combined with the app and the therapist. I always say there's a saying, the guy that created EOS, he said, everybody's going to do 7 years of therapy. You just have to pick which 7 years you're going to do. I'm a big proponent of therapy for everybody and making sure that folks have somebody that they can talk to ensure that they're safe. So how many units or how many properties have you done this in? Have you seen any results that you've maybe been able to measure? I don't even know what the measurables would be, but what does it look like in terms of how you've rolled this out to your existing folks?
Yes, this is fairly new, the product, the services that we are providing. So I'm doing as many podcasts and speaking engagements as possible to let people know that we exist, that our products and services exist, that you do not have to go through the courts. This basically, I don't want to say negates, but you don't need the courts. Everything gets resolved right in residency. We have this right now in a couple of test properties, if you will, and it's about 2 or 3, and it's working out well. We're getting really positive feedback, positive results, and I feel like this will take off in a big way because safety is so important. It's basic, it's fundamental. And when we say safety, as I say in my TEDx talk, it goes beyond the heat, hot water, electricity, central air. Everything is up to code. But what about behavior wise? What about respect in residency? But whether you live alone, whether you're single, or if you have a family of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. And we also are marketing this price wise. It's $125 per unit for the certification, the purchase of the package, and that includes everything, the policy, the seminar, the app, and therapists. And no matter how many people are in each unit, it's $125. So you could be a family, a party of one, or a family of whatever your family consists of. So we feel strongly that this is where residency, the real estate industry needs to move in this direction. The statistics are horrendous. They're just absolutely horrendous. So we really need solutions. Victims need solutions. They need resolution. And even if you're not a victim, I want to say this is a blanket certification, whether you're going through abuse or not. It's just the blanket education, the policy, the seminar, the app, the therapy. It's a blanket certification for all. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, super helpful.
Sabrina, I love the mission that your company is bringing to market. And as real estate operators ourselves, one of the great convictions that we have is that it's not just about making a buck as a real estate operator, but how you make a buck really matters. And there's a really big difference between doing it with a focus on integrity and respect and just doing it to make a buck. So I'm curious, as you've started to have these conversations, what's the feedback or response been from people like us who are landlords? Are you finding that people identify with the problem, or do they need to be educated first, or just what's been your experience thus far talking to people like us?
Yes, I feel that the response that I have been getting, they like what we are offering, but there is hesitation because it is new and there are, how do you say, liability. People are scared, and we get that, which is why we are also speaking to mortgage people and insurance companies, where we are making this more, I don't want to say, I guess you could say more impactful, I guess, for landlords that, look, if you get your property Osso Safe certified, your insurance rates will go down and your property values will go up, because you should be rewarded as a landlord, as a property manager, that you are taking extra steps or even steps to get your property Osso Safe certified because you're worried about their safety, about practicing respect among each unit, everyone in each unit. So I think this is more of a repetition, just getting the message out there that we exist and having people see that this is a necessity. So I hope I answered the question. It has been challenging. I'm not going to say that it hasn't been, but we feel that this is the way to go. This has to be. If you look at the statistics, 1 out of 3 women will be beaten or raped in her lifetime. 1 out of 5 adolescent girls is abused by her boyfriend. 1 out of 3 young people will be in an abusive relationship. 1 out of 7 men is abused. 15 million children witness violence in their own homes each and every year. Those are just in the US, just the ones that are documented. 5 children a day are killed in this country alone at the hands of an abusive parent under the watch, usually, of a child protective service agency. We need a better way. So we feel that respect has to be instilled, practiced, and let's make respect a required standard condition of residency across the board, which is what we're doing, what we are establishing, what we are setting in code, basically, So, yeah, this is why I'm so happy to be on your show, because I know that I'm reaching investors, different types of investors, property managers, property owners. And I want to say, be courageous, be bold. This has to happen, and we're already doing it on our end, but we just need more exposure and more people to say, I'm in. I'll hire you. I want my property also safe certified. I want, whether I have 10 units, 2 units, or thousands of units. Let's do this.
Yeah. Wow. Those statistics are staggering. I'm sure any listener that is hearing those statistics has an immediate empathetic reaction, feeling for folks who are in abusive relationships and, being abused all over the world. I'm curious, just as you think of rolling this out more broadly, obviously there's a huge national issue. What's kind of your approach to getting this into properties and continuing to tackle that issue? Is it just one property at a time, or, what does it look like for you to scale this?
I am a real estate agent, so I have access to, as you know, I'm a member of the National Association of Realtors and the New Jersey Association of Realtors. So I have been speaking to them and to other real estate agents to get the word out that we exist, that I'm doing this to bridge the real estate industry with Osso Safe on a real estate agent level, as well as I mentioned, the mortgage companies and the insurance companies. So we are approaching them. We have been speaking to them. So that way it's more attractive, if you will, more an incentive, giving more of an incentive to property owners, property managers to say, wow, wait a minute. Because let's face it, money talks. And if you, at the end of the day, everybody, not even at the end of the day, at the beginning, the middle, the end of the day, money talks. And that's okay. That's okay. The more money we can make, depending upon what kind of a person you are, the more good you can do for yourself and others. That's the way we see it. So money is great. The more money, great. So we're not looking to be timid or charity. No, this is a service. It's providing a service. It's providing products and services that can make an enormous positive impact. So I'm using all of my resources as a real estate agent to roll this out, as you put it, to really get it out there. And let's speak to our potential buyers, our potential sellers, our investors, our renters, our landlords, to say, look, this is a great product and service, and one that we need beyond yesterday. It's been a long time coming, to say the least. So children need to be safe. Adults need to be safe. They need to be respected. And let's have this as a service in our properties. Before we hand you the keys and we, there's the door and move in. Well, let's get you Osso Safe certified. because if we solve all these problems initially, then it'll be much easier later, because later it's too late. It's too late. As I said, there could be damage to your property because of violence, right? There could be damage as far as the furniture, the walls, someone could be hurt, or the worst of it, there could be a murder on your property. So why? When it could be preventative right off the bat.
Yeah, totally. Well, one of the convictions that we have is that doing good at properties is actually good for the financial performance of those properties. So I believe that there is a real return on investment to landlords for subscribing to something like you're suggesting here. In my opinion, it's a hugely needed service that just does not get enough attention. And I believe, the returns are beyond just, kind of social returns, but there are real financial returns for doing this and doing it well. Well, we're just about out of time here. I'm going to lead us through the lightning round here. So this is just an opportunity to get to know you more as a person beyond just the work that you do. So if you don't mind me asking, what would you say is your biggest win?
My business, I have to say, my business, my children's book, they go hand in hand. We're very unique, and it's definitely a win, definitely. And we're very hopeful. I want to say we're very positive about what we do. So it's kind of taking a taboo subject and making it untaboo, making it good for business, good for adults and children alike.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I think you should be very proud of what you've done and what you're continuing to do. What would you say is your favorite movie?
Aaron Brockovich.
Okay. Awesome. I actually haven't seen that one. I'll have to check it out. I know my wife has seen it and spoke highly of
Yes.
it. How about your favorite food?
It's a Italian cake, tiramisu. I love that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And,
tiramisu.
and you're Italian, right? Is your family from Italy?
Yes, Italy, southern Italy. Yep.
Le parle italiano?
Assolutamente, parlo italiano. Sì, 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 sì.
Awesome. How about a current way in which you're trying to grow yourself, either personally or professionally, a way that you're trying to improve your craft?
Well, I've been finding, and this is something, as I mentioned, I grew up with violence, but I've been learning that I do my best to stay in the moment. And we make this a part of the education in our certifications. When you stay in the moment, you're not thinking about the past, you're not thinking about the future. Just stay in the moment, meaning, like right now, my moment is talking to you. I hear my voice, I hear your voice. I may hear my surroundings where I'm recording. I hear the heat working, and that's it. And it's been helping me to not get overwhelmed as much as before. And it just makes for a better business. So I would say practicing staying in the moment.
Yeah, I love that. That's something I'm working on myself as well. I feel like sometimes my ADD takes me everywhere else, but it's a definitely an acquired skill to be able to stay in the moment. What is some like A plus content you're taking in these days, either podcasts or books, anything you're really enjoying learning about?
I love there are good parents out there, and I'm so grateful for them because they are proof that it can be done. So I look at like parentstogether.org, Goals and Love, Positive Parenting Solutions, Tired Dad. They're all on Instagram and Facebook and a few other
Yeah.
social media platforms. And I love what they put out. Like, don't beat your kids, understand them, respect them, listen to each other. Make sure that you, instead of asking them, oh, how was school? And you get a one-word answer. Well, what was something that positive happened at school? What is something negative that happened? How did that make you feel? So I love that, because they're proof
Oh,
that what we're doing at Osso Safe is possible. And not only that, that should be the norm.
yeah, I love that. And I'm so glad you mentioned some of those resources. In fact, I'll have to share this with my wife. We've been doing positive parenting solutions since our 6-year-old was born, actually. So for the past 6 years, we've been following Amy and the content she puts out. And respect, actually, as a result of that, is one of our core values as a family. I really love that content. And I really love just how you're focusing on respect as a non-negotiable in homes. And not only is it good for the residents of the home, I believe as an investor that it's good for business. It's good for a return on investment as well. So it was just great having you on the show, Sabrina. I learned a ton from you. How can folks connect with you if they want to learn more about Osso Safe?
Sure. Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you so much for your positive feedback. The website is ososafe.com. We are on all the major social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. And we also, our 2 platforms specifically for kids of all ages, we openly talk about abuse, about respect. Disrespect is the TikTok and the YouTube channel that we have. And if they just Google Sabrina Osso or Osso Safe Kids, it'll come up, and we talk about the top subjects openly, and we've been getting positive feedback. So those would be the best ways. And also our book, our children's book is on Amazon. And also other book websites.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Really enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for being on the show. I'll encourage our listeners to follow what you're doing, because I truly believe there is an epidemic here of violence and abuse that you've mentioned the statistics that really needs to be dealt with. And I love the approach that you're taking, bringing respect directly into people's homes. So thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Andrew. This was so great.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Real Returns Podcast. We hope that you learned something new about how you can invest to make a lasting impact on those around you. Please be sure to subscribe to our show wherever you listen to your podcasts, leave us a review, and share about us on social media. We hope you will join us for our next episode, where we will be continuing the conversation around impactful real estate investing.